Welcome to our 194th episode of Gorilla Radio. We will hit 200 by the end of the season.
Oh, for sure. We gotta make sure the 200 show is like the award show though, if we
I
could.
don't know if we're going to be able to hold off though, because we're going to have
Yeah.
one
We do
for regional, semi-state. Do we have 4? Yeah, so that'd be. So what is that?
Yeah.
95, 96, 97, 98, 99.
State.
State would be 200.
Okay. Well, it is what it is. We can make it happen.
Or we can double up a couple semi-states on one night. Maybe we'll do that.
We're just gonna get to 200 for sure. That's 200 more shows than I thought we were gonna do.
Yeah, about 199 more.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, it's sectional week, which seems kind of crazy. Just kind of.
Yeah, I feel like this went pretty fast, honestly.
Yeah, it kind of crept up on us as like we had that week of between the 2 weeks basically between Al Smith and Team State, and that was kind of just like a weird week, 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden now it's like, oh crap, it's go time. So
yeah. And it was like kind of a weird where there was some like weird timing, but it went pretty fast. I felt like we just started. So now it's come down to the last rankings, last couple shows. So pretty exciting.
Locking the rankings Friday afternoon, evening time, whenever the last one comes out.
Well, we continue to do the power poll every week with the eliminated wrestlers taken out of the equation. Just so we can get clicks.
Because people love the power poll.
Man, they do. Every week, man. Sometimes I feel like I just want to go on there and start the topic like, how is this happening? How is Delta number 1 in the four-way and semi-state? Didn't you know Garrett beat them?
Yes. And Homestead beat them. And, yes.
Yeah. So I like it when people do that. It makes me laugh. Just makes me smile.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And then there's a few people that are actually catching on, and they're kind of not having fun with it and telling them the real reason why everything goes on. But it's kind of not as fun, but you still get that. The engagements are always fun with that. So, yep. So, sectional week, we are... last week, we had the last of conferences. We had the Bob Hassman... don't get kicked out of the last dual tournament and a couple other small tournaments. So it seemed like, I don't know why, it just seemed like there weren't as many conferences this weekend as there usually are.
I thought that was a pretty, like, when I was thinking about this week, I said, man, that's pretty smart that they did that. Because if you did have someone get kicked out, you didn't have anything, you're scrambling to get a duel and try to get a duel. And if you don't win, it's a pretty slick move by the Finley alum.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you wrestle that meet and you get kicked out of that one, there's still a last meet that you can't. I mean, you gotta make sure you don't get a crazy match in where you get kicked out.
You gotta bring some, lenient refs. you gotta bring in some teams that are a little bit nicer, less ruffians.
No rivalries.
Man, you ever see that John Boy where they had that like Padres fight? It was like a team fight and everyone's fighting and like no one even gets thrown out. They're like fighting fans.
Yeah.
And they're like warnings. We're just gonna give everyone warnings.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I guess conferences can get kind of feisty because those are usually your close rivals. So maybe that is right. Maybe schedule a duel.
Some feistiness on the internet.
Yes.
At conference. So.
Yeah, so do we want to start with our rankings or do you want to go last week first?
Either way. I don't think it's going to be a super long show. There wasn't a ton of stuff going on, but we could start with last week and let the chat build up and then jump into our reality rankings.
Sounds good. First big one, Friday night, the Allen County Athletic Conference. They go Friday night now because they only have 7 teams, and that one I kind of was paying a little bit of attention to, and then went to bed and everything. Got it up in the morning, looked at it. Adams Central won by half a point.
Oh wow!
Over Jay County, and it's not the first time Coach Myers has lost by half a point. So I did have to welcome Coach Curry into the club of adding some gray to Coach Meyer's beard. So
Dang, man. I think Coach Myers lost the team state vote by half a point too. It wasn't his year, bro. I'm telling. He's a good dude, man. I hope. I don't want to be mad at me. I'm just joking.
Yeah, no, that was a some obviously great. I mean, it's one of those things you never know. Like a half a point, you can find that a lot of places. You can, a lot of things need to go your way. I know and Northeast 8 came down to the last couple matches. Any big matches? Levi Johns over Titus Loshi.
I seen Easton Doster back on the mat. That was huge.
Yes. Yeah.
I know there was some rumors that he was going to be out.
Yep, and he dominated as he usually does.
Keelan Fuller back at 13, which, man, I feel like that guy's been 13 or 6 every year. It's pretty crazy.
Did he get like a COVID year or two? Or, I mean...
Held back as an 8th grader twice.
Twice, okay.
But was able to compete. We're not going to start that again tonight. I know that that was a sore subject. I got a lot of feedback on that. I got a lot of personal feedback on those on that rant. I got a rant for everybody at the end too. I think I got something going.
Yeah. Oh, that was yeah.
It's about the Newcastle semi-state and how close it's going to be, Gil. He sent me a text. I just didn't. I forgot to respond. I was napping.
Yeah. So Gil wants to know how power poles work.
So like if you wrestled somebody during the season, we take that in consideration.
I just put names in a hat and then just do like a random number generator, and then I put numbers beside there and just randomly put the teams in there. And presto.
People get so angry though. It's dude, that one's actually pretty funny to me. Like some of the stuff, none of that stuff really hurts my feelings. But when those guys get like so wild on the power pole, I actually find that pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Free loose duels, does that mean anything? No, it doesn't mean anything. You can try to sandbag all you want. Reclassification. Yeah, so back to the Northeast 8. And Keelan Fuller, he's like one of those guys that I swear should have graduated 2 or 3 years ago, but I believe he's a senior this year, right?
I think he qualified as a freshman, right?
No, he got to the ticket round.
Ticket rounder?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's been around at 106, 113. So the team race, New Haven beat Belmont by 2.5 points. New Haven did not have their 113-pounder, Bakari Cooper. So I don't know what happened there. And they did the old... I did like what they did in the bracket. They just put a forfeit there, and number 2 seed was a forfeit. So that didn't screw anything up.
Not that, like, that's not my rant, but that's weird, man. Like, it ain't that hard. Just move it around. Like, I don't think it's that hard.
Yeah, that could have been...
Would have been How many teams are in the conference?
What?
How many teams are in the conference? 8?
8, yeah.
Like, how many seeds do you have? You have 4?
I think they seeded 4. So they could have shifted that down. But then the interesting thing is Belmont had a guy as the 4 seed. If they would move him down, it'd have been a 2-3. I don't know if he beats the Huntington North kid, but he has a better chance of beating him than Fuller. So,
who hosted this tournament that made these brackets? Was it New Haven?
It was Columbia City.
Oh, okay.
Blaine
we
Cole.
See what they're doing here. Blaine Cole out here. Nah, he's it's in his blood. He knows how to make the brackets. I agree with him. Drew Walden back too for DeKalb with a championship, 3-0 on the season. So
yeah, we got a little feedback on that because he jumped. I think Caleb put him 2 or 3 in the semi-state, and people were like, he hasn't even wrestled a match, and like, he's been to state a few times.
Yeah, I know people love that. They love the how does that guy jump up there? I was like, well, he's pretty good. I mean, I think that they forget like people are good, and that doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. If Clinton Shepard enters the bracket this week, he's probably going to be pretty high in the rankings. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
I don't think he is. I'm not saying that he is, but if that was something like, hey, we got, Anthony Reinhardt's going to be in at 165, he's probably going to number 2.
Yeah.
And he hasn't even wrestled a match this year. No, he has. I think he wrestled a couple early.
That's the thing is they're good wrestlers. They have a proven track record beyond the last 3 months. So
That's how they call it reclassification. Hey, I like that. Let's not even call it being held back. We're gonna call it reclassification. Yeah. I like sometimes. I mean, I know I'm not supposed to like basketball. It's like not that I like basketball though. I like when sometimes they recertify their grade, but earlier so they get to the NBA quicker.
That's what the one North Carolina Spencer Moore. He did that. He was their 125 pounder. He reclassified to be younger. Must be an advanced student in Kentucky, which I mean.
There's probably no way that he had good grades right now.
Yeah. So
we have a girl on our team. She graduated mid-year, and then before every practice we ask like what everyone's doing, and everyone's talking about school. I was like, "What do you do?" She's like, "Looking for a job before she starts college in the fall." And I was like, "Man, that's tough. You got like work during the. I mean, you'd think when you're a kid you want to miss school all the time to watch like TV and hang out, but like daytime TV kind of sucks, right?"
Yeah.
We should have did our top 5 soap operas, bro. One Life to Live, killing.
Daytime TV shows. We could do that one.
Dude, I got a list. I'll tell you all about One Life to Live in 1994. I had to stay home a bunch.
we watch Andy Griffith here on Fox. That comes out. That's 2 episodes at noon and 12:30, and then but before that you have Price is Right. So
I gotta get Price is Right.
Yeah.
We would not. What's the one like on CBS? Was that like? We weren't a CBS family. We didn't watch a lot of CBS. So we're Channel 7. General Hospital, One Life to Live, killing it, back to back to back.
Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Lives. I think that was a Channel 2. That came on after Price is Right.
Yeah, that's the one my babysitter would always watch. That was her show, her stories.
We didn't have babysitters. They just kind of let us be at home alone. Just lock the door. Don't open it up.
Nice.
We survived. We were cute kids, too. If I was a kidnapper, I'd have snatched us.
What are you going to get for them?
Nothing. 0.
That's my kids always ask.
These guys don't shut up. They're trying to bring us back.
What if someone kidnaps me? I'm like, they'll bring you back. Trust me, you're expensive. You cry. You don't eat what we give you. Yeah, good luck.
Man, I had this talk at work because, we got like some people that have young kids. And they're like, kidnapping's so prevalent now. And I'm like, they're probably kidnapping people when we were kids too. We just didn't know about it as much.
Yeah.
They were just word of mouth.
Yeah. Well, my daughter I was asking the kids what we should rank tonight. And she's like, best childhood memory. I go, not having kids.
Yeah. Oh, man. We don't want to bring that up. How long do you got?
So okay, back to our
last
Northeast
week.
8.
Yep.
But, yeah, so good to see a couple injured guys back, and one I know we weren't. Walden we weren't expecting him to be back.
I thought he was out.
Yeah, so that's good to see him back. Any big?
He got back quicker than these MLB guys, man. They need to go to his doctor.
Yeah. Tommy John, he's back. Yes, he's probably not throwing any fastballs, playing dodgeball out there.
What if he is? What if he's Henry Rowan-Gardner, man?
Doster obviously dominated. Gavin Davis over Riley Biddle. That was a whooping.
Dang, man, you say it like that.
Was
there any close final? What was the closest finals match? 19-4, 11-5, Cody Coxon. I am
so.
Still pretty top heavy conference here.
Yeah, not very many surprises.
Actually, when I was looking through this, I was like, man, the finals probably went pretty quick.
Yeah, it was. I was watching kind of the results as I kind of was keeping an eye on it and seeing who's winning. I'm like, oh wow, that's gonna be really close, and it came basically down to the last match, and I knew Belmont wasn't probably gonna win, and New Haven was going to win. So I think that kind of I was like, oh, at 2:15 there was a couple matches I think that could have gone either way. So good to see a conference come down to down to the wire there. So
Congratulations in New Haven.
yep, they got the duels uh, and the tournament.
How
Uh,
many Bulldogs do you think won conferences?
at least two.
I mean, this well three now. Like you got Crown Point,
Oh yeah,
Brownsburg.
Crown Point. Yes, three.
This Centerville's the Bulldogs too. Did they win their conference?
The TEC. I do not know who won the TEC, but I do
I
have
missed
it.
that post.
The Tech Northeastern one by
Uh,
12 and
are
a
they
half.
the Bulldogs?
Kroll's led the way down low. Heather Kroll won. Olivia was second, so that's pretty good. They won that TEC. Man, I miss those threads on the board. The TEC
I know.
boards
Right?
used to get crazy.
Yeah, because they had crazy people in there.
Yeah, yes. Like Big Mac.
If you say it three times, I think he'll come back to the board.
Yes. Yeah, oh yeah. He tried multiple times. Um, the Southern Indiana Conference, Mater Dei dominated.
They did.
One, two, three, four, five. Four,
Walker
six.
reversed the loss to Batch Elder from Castle. That was early on. Batch Elder had that win.
They had 9 champions.
Landon Horning, I thought he was out too. He's 17-3, so it was good to see him in the lineup, or at least the results for him in the lineup.
Yeah, that's always a good one because we don't get a whole lot of stuff from down south, and you get to see records and see what's going on here.
Camden Bauman had a day, right? Beat
Yeah.
Connor Hoare semis, and then beat Cooper Collins, who was out Mater Dei champ. That was undefeated.
Yeah, that was a good day, and he's gonna have to turn around and wrestle them this week, I'm sure. Who's in their sectional? I do not know the exact sectional that they are in. Yeah, he'll have Vincent's and there is Horace from Memorial. So
He's from
Memorial goes to the other regional, so he'll have to prove it against Collins this week.
What's the next conference?
The next one we have, next big one would have been.
Man, the Fort Wayne, you guys love doing your conferences this weekend, huh?
Oh yeah, the Bishop Dwenger won the SAC. It's a little bit down this year. The neck. Garrett won, running away there. There's some decent matches there. Swarthwood over Fleshman by fall. Quinnell, Gabriel Lakeland over Caleb Asa. Let's see what other big ones. Lincoln Carter over Dallas Davidson. Excuse me. Tegan Klaus over Ethan Fike. Battle of guys that Fike's been in the state, right? Yeah, I think so. Or is it Carter? I get all the.
Lynn Carter.
Yeah. So Fike's pretty solid. Came back. Brecken Moran over Joe Richmond, and then Jacob Reynolds over Parker Boots. But NECC, always a fun one. Mid South, Hoosier Heartland, Pocket Athletic Conference, PAC. Heritage Hills won over Gibson Southern. That one has 13 schools.
It's a pretty big conference. No Jet. No Jet in there, huh?
No.
Goldsberry.
Max Stevens over Owen Blessinger. It's a pretty solid conference for down south. I know. I'm sure. Dustin likes to see the results here.
Wyatt Ulrey, 22-1, only lost to Revan Dickman. What else?
See if there's any big matches. Sam Howard over Noah Terry, 8-2, so that's a good win for Howard.
Yeah, reversed the loss from early on. Dalton Pledger over Colton Schneider. That's by Tech Fall. The two guys, I believe, that are in the semi-state rankings.
Yeah. Well, Jet was over in Purdue doing a football visits this weekend, so that's probably why he didn't wrestle.
He hasn't. I feel like he hasn't wrestled in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Landon Terry over Tyson Barrow. Tyson Barrow's in the rankings, 15-3. That's two ranked wrestlers.
So that's always a pretty solid conference. The Greater Indianapolis Athletic Conference. I didn't get a link for that one. Three Rivers, Mechaniqua, I believe, won that. Always has some good. Mechaniqua over Northfield. Let's see. There was a couple. Lane Horn won at 32. Well, there were a couple decent matches. Eli Gall over Remington Kressel. Brant Beck over Evan Oglesby.
Undefeated Eli Gall.
Yes.
Undefeated Brant Beck, too. There's a lot of undefeated guys in this conference.
Farnell over Landon Smith from Whitco. Ringheisen, he is back. He's undefeated. Yeah, man, there are a ton of undefeated guys. Chubby Hillman Conley over Declan Guard.
1-0. Wow.
So, pretty solid. Pretty good little small school conference there. So, a lot of semi-state level rankings and stuff, matches that'll kind of be kind of help figure out the rest of the rankings as we go on, since this is the last week for rankings.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
We'll get, I'm sure, we'll probably go. We usually go more on semi-state for rankings. We'll see. But I think the semi-state rankings kind of get wrapped up this week, and then state rankings will be out, and we'll lock them up.
Yep. And then
see how they roll.
Let them ride. Columbus East and Brownsburg wrestled Friday.
Yeah. It was streamed, too. They streamed it.
I did not watch it. And I did not have the result. It's 65-5. That was not a close match.
Yeah, where was the I believe the only win was at 65. It was a tech fall for Columbus East, I believe.
Yeah. So I am updating that result right now. So
Parker Reynolds over Lincoln Cooper, like 11-3.
Yeah. Gunnar Henry over Colin McMahon. Hank the Tank was the only winner for Columbus East. Dunking over Ethan Poling. Jake Hockaday over Gage Rutan. Braylon Reynolds over Caleb Kirkpatrick. Gibbs over Caleb Cooper. Reynolds over Lincoln Cooper. So that's where Columbus East is strong, and Brownsburg is really strong, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, just a tough matchup. Lowell over Rensselaer. Good one at 150. Avery Stanley over Dieter Gerst, 9-6 overtime. So a couple good duels this past week, too.
Yeah. Usually we don't have too many duels this week, but yeah, a couple good duels. Avon was supposed to wrestle Center Grove, and I think they just wrestled Varsity 2 and JV. So I got a text like last night, like, did they ever wrestle? And I thought they were supposed to, and then I ended up finding that they didn't. So could have been a couple good matches there. Let's see. I don't think anything else. Ron Colley beat. That was during our show. Ron Colley beat.
Yeah, beat him pretty solid too, right?
Yeah. Bismeyer did not wrestle, so hopefully,
Yeah, I seen that.
hopefully we do see him in the lineup um, at sectional. Hopefully, I don't know the extent of it, but that's probably one we are keeping our eyes out on. So, anyway, let's. What do we want to go over our rankings of
You don't
reality
want to do
TV?
you don't want to do middle school state duels?
Oh, there weren't very many teams there, were there?
I don't know.
I don't think we had
I
very
know
many.
I see Crown Point won it. I know they kind of dominate it. Just because I see it on their page. How many teams were there?
Um, there were not very many brackets. There's two pools. There were 8 teams. It looks like. So Crown Point over New Pal, Noblesville third, Franklin Central, Columbia City,
I
Viking.
think I think New Pal just beat Crown Point in the elementary duels too, right?
Yeah.
Get a little rivalry going.
So yeah, the championship they won 73-21 in the championship.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty great. That's a big win there. Lots of yeah. I don't know. There's not very many teams there, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if that's really not taken off, but so 8 teams, and then yeah, they beat Franklin Central, who was the fourth place team, 80-3. They scored a lot of points. So
Yeah, and I think I know that they and I know they're talented. So like they're one of the teams that told me, but they're like they didn't use any like add-ins or anything. Those are all their kids.
that's what I was gonna ask. I don't know if they are allowed to bring in. I know for elementary you can bring in a couple out of district kids. I don't know about this.
Yeah. And then Folks Out Nationals was this past weekend also, right?
Yeah, Fork South Nationals was in Fort Wayne. The IndianaMat was being used.
I seen that
So
AZ Overstreet for Crown Point National Champ. Was there a lot of kids there? I mean, I didn't see the results on it at all.
there were about 1,200 kids there from all over the country. Um, let's see. I'm looking at the results right now, and it's always still trying to get used to the
USA bracketing.
USA bracketing. Um, Samuel Spine from Floyd Central. He was second in 8U boys. I think that is Brad Spine's son, if I'm not mistaken.
Arm wrestling champion Brad Spine.
Yes.
He has some pretty wild videos on YouTube of him doing like one-handed chin-ups and getting ready for like arm wrestling.
Nice. Let's see. We'll go to 14U. That's one that people probably will understand, see a little bit more. But yeah, we had a lot of Indiana kids were there. Let's see. Colton Wiseman was third. That was 70. And you'll see a lot of Lucas Pepito from it was sixth at 84. South Dearborn, Jace Largent at 88. And then Hayden Cochran from Contenders, it was sixth. Jackson Sanchez from Region. I don't know if he's a Indiana guy or Illinois. Looks like he wrestles all over. Looks like he's from California. That's interesting. Elias Faith was eighth there. And M2, there are quite a few. Alexander Ponce from Bulldog was eighth. Not quite very many. Got Bishop McCourt. You see M2. You see lots of pretty big clubs sending their kids there. Maverick Cohen from Mauer Coffin at 105 was 8th. Hopefully I don't miss anybody. Yeah, Azarius Overstreet. You already said him, right?
Yep.
It's from what?
Crown Point.
Yeah, from Crown Point at 120. Be interesting to see how he.
I believe he's a 7th grader.
So that's pretty good to win that at 120. Anyone else?
Holden Ripley, I believe he's a Valpo kid. He won it at 125.
155, Gavin Brown. Where is he going? He's from Contenders. Trafalgar. Where's Trafalgar?
Indian Creek.
Indian Creek. Ooh, that's an interesting one. So, yeah, he won at 155.
Brayton
Thomas
train,
Brower
right?
from Mauer Coughlin and Kyle Howard from Contenders. So
I don't know if he's Brayton Lee trade, but I know Brayton said he was working with the Indian Creek middle school guys.
Yeah.
Not a bad coach to have, right?
Yeah. When we ran into him at Team State, asked him what he's doing. He's like, I'm coaching the youth kids at Indian Creek. I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah, I was like, and he's still training, but not a bad coach to have there, right?
Yeah, he has the energy to coach youth, and it'd be fun. I guarantee. He came up to Carroll one time, and he does a great job with kids, and definitely, if he could start his own club, he'd do really well. He has the energy to do that. So yeah, good tournament up here in Fort Wayne at the Coliseum. So sounds like everything went well, and they had about 1,200 kids, boys and girls. All was 14U and below. I believe 16U and juniors and old people will be in Iowa in like April. So
Yeah.
But,
at the University of Northern Iowa Dome, right?
I believe so. Yes. Usually
we had a cool. It wasn't cool for Silas, but there was like a cool video that University of Northern Iowa put out. It had Eric McGill on the mat, roughing Leo Mercado as the assistant, a ref who's also an Indiana guy. Silas Allred kind of getting beat by a really good guy, but
yeah,
still cool to see 3 Indiana guys out there.
I did see Eric was in a little controversy. He wasn't the one that did it, but there was a headgear throwing, and it wasn't even a coach. It's the wrestling secretary, I guess. It's just someone that knows wrestling and probably helps with recruiting and stuff. Posted it, and I saw Eric he was the assistant ref. I'm like, oh, great. So, but yeah. Ranking reality shows.
This was a good one. We didn't know we were ranked before, but then this one came up, and we got pretty excited.
Yes. So, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'm going to go first.
Okay, what's your number 5?
My number 5, Room Raiders. MTV Room Raiders. Get to go through everyone's room, and try to pick the people. I think it was a setup show, but it was something that I watched when I used to come home from school.
Oh, I totally forgot about that one. That was a good one. This is gonna be really bad because this is like when I was fresh out of college. Was Temptation Island, where they took like 4. I think they took like 4 couples. I had to read up on it. I was like, what is that show? And they took them to an island and they split them up, and then they had other singles flirting with all the people. Then they found out if they were loyal or not. So it was very interesting. It was very well set up. MTV Cribs. MTV Cribs. Is that? Sure.
It was on there, but I don't know. I felt that was set up too.
Yeah.
Too much controversy. We gotta stay away from all that Diddy stuff. we couldn't pick making the band, you know. We gotta keep it off the list today.
Yes. Man, Room Raiders. I forgot. I totally forgot about that one.
I didn't tell Joe all my picks, so we didn't pick the same ones.
Yes. What was your 4?
My number 4, I watch it at least once a week. Beat Bobby Flay. I love that show. It's a cooking show. Bobby Flay basically has to like beat people in like their specialty meal.
How do you
I
spell
like
Bobby?
cooking. Flay.
Okay, I was
Kim
getting
Kim can vouch for all these. These are all shows that I watch pretty regular.
that. So my number 4 is Big Brother, and I kind of will watch it. I'm not big into it anymore, reality shows, but I still watch that one. I'll catch during the summer when I'm kind of bored and the Cubs suck. So I just, I've given up on the Cubs season. I'll watch Big Brother.
I've never even watched an episode of Big Brother,
Like
but
it's
I'll say it. But I will, man. When my number 1 comes up, there's like I started trying to watch some of these other reality shows so I can see some of the people trying to go into this other one. My number 3, Hard Knocks, NFL. I love Hard Knocks. Watch the Hard Knocks for the divisions. I watch Hard Knocks in the preseason. I haven't watched the Hard Knocks with the GMs. I don't know if you guys watched it with the Eagles. They had or the Giants. They were losing Saquon. The owner was like, I really hope that he doesn't go to the Eagles and do well. And if anyone follows football, Saquon's having a monster year.
yeah, yes.
The GM for the Giants, he's from like Elkhart. I think he went to Elkhart Memorial.
Nice.
I think he played football at DePaul, the W.
Mine is Next.
Dude, Next was that show though. That was a good show.
Yes, that was a great like speed dating, and that was pretty like they found something that they didn't like it. Next, just axed them quickly. It was always kind of funny. It was always just definitely very set up, but it was also just fun to watch and seeing what people would want in their potential dating partners. I'm sure that had a lot of people end up marrying each other.
Yeah, I think so. They should probably go on a reunion show and see how many of those people stayed together.
Yes. Sarah, you're
My
not
number-
gonna like our list.
That's all right. My number 2, I don't really watch it now, but I watched probably the first 10 seasons of it. The Ultimate Fighter.
Ooh.
I thought that was a pretty cool show. They put all these guys in there training and then drinking. So
Brett did say one we almost put on there.
we almost did put cops on there, but I didn't want to put out all my boys that were on cops.
So my next one, my number 2, way too short of a run, was Road Rules. So yeah, that was a great show. Bunked up in an RV and just drama, and they had to do challenges for money, and that was fun. That was a great show. I wish that one ended way too early.
Man, can you imagine having to be in an RV with people that long? It's hard to even be in a car with someone that long.
I know. Yeah.
People you like. Like, think about like how many times you're in a car and like after a little bit you're like, dude, I turn the music on. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. And
That's Kim every single time we have to go out of town.
Which is every weekend for softball.
Every weekend, man. She's a saint. My number 1, Clear. Watch it all the time. Still watch it. Talk to my brother and my sister about it. The Challenge. Just get into season. Like the only time that's tough is like when we're practicing on Thursday nights because it's like literally my favorite show. It's the next best thing to sports. I think it has everything. If you're not watching the Challenge, you're missing out. I could do a whole podcast on the Challenge, honestly.
Yes, I need to. I started watching it a couple years ago a little bit, and then I just gotta. I don't know. I get either into them really good, and I like laser focused, or if I get bored, I like just do something else.
You gotta like get all the alliances, and it's tough, man. Yeah. So I remember Hector Mendez had a picture with him and CT. They were on the beach at like a spring break back when you used to. Man, did you used to want to go on spring break like our spring break never landed on the same spring break week as like MTV, but I always wanted to go.
Oh yeah, that looked like so much fun. Just
I was literally disappointed when I became. I mean, I didn't have money to be going on spring break like that. Like I was just happy to be off of school. But man, we went to PCB for our nationals, and I was like thinking, like, man, I never thought I was gonna be at PCB like this. I thought I was gonna be here as like a 20-year-old kid
yeah,
living my life.
in a pool like just mashed of a bunch of people, drunk college kids. So
Man, those were probably so bad, right? Like thinking back.
yeah, so my number one, Real World. That was just perfect timing. It was always fun to watch, and there was always drama. First few years were pretty good, and then it kind of started to tail off. Just they didn't bring enough drama. People filled with drama, but that was always fun to watch and figure out how people got along. Random strangers, and they always made sure they mixed up people that wouldn't get along. So
You know, you got to bring people from different. You ever seen the Chappelle Show? It was Mad Real World when it was the flip.
no.
Nah, well, you can watch that up here. I had some honorable mentions. These are ones I still watch. I watch The Curse of Oak Island. I feel like they're real close to finding this treasure. I watch it all the time. There's one person at work I talk about it with, so I'm like a 50-year-old man. Man, dude, I'm telling you, like whatever, like, and I could do a whole nother show about The Curse of Oak Island too. Whether they find gold or not, there was some wildness going on this island.
So one of my new favorites might be Squid.
Yeah, like, we
Squid
didn't even
Game.
say what we were doing reality
I
shows.
know. So there's a rumor, not confirmed, but a coach in northern Indiana around the Notre Dame area.
We're not going to say any names because my boy Chris Vargo does not like that.
Yes.
Told me that it was toxic.
Yes.
I agree.
So a coach is taking
release any personal emails.
yeah, coach is taking a little bit of a leave of absence, and we were trying to figure out what was going on. And first, when I heard about it we obviously were thinking something very bad. This is not time you take a leave of absence. But then doing some
Hey, that dude is
googling.
sick. I never once thought he was doing anything bad.
Well, you never know when anything happens. I was like, what's going on here? So anyway, I do some research and I started doing some googling, and there is a article from their school newspaper that Mr. H was a finalist for Squid Games. So I believe, fairly certain that there's a taping going on very soon. So
Man, you're going to get this guy kicked off. And I watch Squid Games. That means they kill him.
oh crap! Oh well. Good for Magger then.
Yep. They're in good hands. Maggott's a good coach. That's like if you had to like step away, like that's a good guy to have as your second, right?
Yeah. He's a Penn alum. He'll run that, do well with the program there. So, and they have a pretty good team, and it's the end of the season, so there's not as much stuff to deal with, other than seeding and stuff he's probably already doing. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. So, we'll keep an eye on that. So, but anyway, rankings.
Another honorable mention. I also like Moonshiners. You ever watch Moonshiners?
Ooh, sorry.
Are you throwing up? You remember
No.
Moonshine? White Lightning?
Trying to keep my cough in, and then it comes out worse.
I thought you were about to throw up right on camera.
Nah,
This guy
I'm
had
not.
had moonshine before.
I
I like to watch Moonshiners. Sometimes I like to watch Naked and Afraid. See, I think, man, I wonder if I can go out there and make a fire with just sticks.
with clothes on, right?
However, man, I'm like surprised with like when they get people like on like Homestead Rescue when they're like, yeah, we just want to go live off the grid, and they don't have any kind of skills whatsoever. They just assume it was going to be really easy. They've never like farmed. They don't have any livestock. Like, well, I'm a vegan. I was like, so they go out there, and I'm thinking like, man, how do these guys even think that they're going to survive out here?
Yeah,
You don't have well, like, bro.
Yeah, so, no, those are. Yeah, there's so many shows, good ones out there that I don't. My one was Singled Out with Jenny McCarthy. That was always
That was a good one too, man. Singled Out was great.
anyone 5'6" or below. Yes, I'd have made it.
Are you taller than 5'6"?
5'7".
Okay, I was
Giant.
wondering. Man, they're giving me a hard time at state. They thought I was short. I mean, maybe I look short on the camera. I don't know. I sit back, not that short.
So, man, I didn't cough all night until I started talking. So anyway, we will rankings updates. There's not too many.
I mean, a couple. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Is going to be seeing if anyone's moving weights. I think we have some rumors of some guys kind of moving around, and you know, kind of goes into like what I was feeling like rant wise a little bit.
Do you want to do the rant before we talk about sectionals?
I mean, I know last week we were killing people for. I mean, I wasn't trying to. That wasn't my intention. I was just. I think it started off as like asking about holdbacks, and then I got like a whole earful all week. But man, I feel like there's like too much cutting weight. Honestly, like I feel like dudes are cutting way too hard. Like I understand if you're cutting to like a weight, maybe I don't even know to win a state title. If you're like the number one guy, maybe to cut weight there. But I feel like too many people are sacrificing development to cut weight. And I seen like a really cool Chael Sonnen like thing where he was talking about like his dad and that he was saying like, oh, like I'm cutting all this weight to get down this weight. And his dad's like, no, we're gonna go eat. He's like, no, he's like, you're not cutting to be better, to cut to competition. You're cutting to run away from someone. He said that makes you a coward. And I'm not saying anyone's a coward. So before I get a really bad email, like I'm not calling anyone a coward, but like that's the truth, right?
Yeah.
If you're cutting, you're not cutting for competition. No one's like, I'm cutting to the hardest weight because they want to compete. They're all worried about what they're wrestling right now. And I mean, some of those situations are tougher because they're in spots where you have to like cut to get in the lineup, I guess. But like, think about how many people like lose development during high school when you're supposed to be developing if you have bigger goals just to cut weight. Like you're coming in on Monday as like, I got to lose 10 pounds, not hey, I need to get better at this. And I think it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, when you go into if your goal in the more when you go into practice isn't to work on your single leg, work on your finishes, work on your stand ups, work on this, it's to lose weight. You're not developing. You're not if you're more worried about the scale than you are, you know, game planning for an opponent or working on your skills. You're stunting your development, and I think like you said, some kids in some places are going to have to cut weight to get in the lineup. That's
Yeah.
the reality of it. Unfortunately, I mean, but that's not everywhere. There's a lot of kids. One thing I notice, and this is if you look at some of our kids from college in the college ranks, you wonder how much they were cutting because you see quite a few that are up 15, 20 pounds from high school.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's I understand some kids are growing, but then I'm looking at like, wow, this guy, was
And having success, right?
yeah, he was 138 as a high school senior. Now he's wrestling 57. He should have been at 41 or maybe 49, but now he's up all the way up 57, 65, and it's interesting to see. And I see a lot of it, especially at the D1 level, where, man, they must have been cutting a ton of weight because now, even their freshman year, they're already up 20 pounds and they're not able to even get down there. So it's one of those things I think there's some guys that are cutting too much weight and it's not.
Well,
making
it's
them
such a
any better.
grind. I think it weighs on you so hard mentally. Like we cut a ton of weight at Calumet, and like I'm not blaming anybody, and like I'm not a beacon of health, but I if it was the reverse and I put as much time in the weight room as I did like cutting weight, I think you had a benefit. It would be way more. Like instead of saying, hey, like I gotta go run 2 miles tonight to lose half a pound, like I can just go to the weight room and lift.
Yeah.
And like kind of eat. But I mean, I think in general, I just think it's like an older mentality, and I think that like like look at the levels. Not even just D1. I know like we love to be D1 or bust, which I think a lot of the guys that are trying to go D1 are actually probably really good like NAIA guys that are just going to be room kids, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But like at the D2 level, guys are wrestling up weight classes and doing really well. Guys at NAIA level are wrestling up weight classes and doing really well. I think it's like one of those like crazy things, and I think that there's ways that people are getting around the like weight management system, and I think if you're like sitting there figuring out ways to manipulate the weight management system, you should probably figure out ways to get better, right?
Yeah.
Like put the same energy into like finishing single legs.
Yeah. Are you echoing on your end?
Yeah, it's echoing here for me. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm so angry now.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I
No,
agree.
I just think it's Tara. Maybe I am calling people cowards. That's fine. They can come at me. It wouldn't be the first time. But like I think in general, I think that like dudes are so worried about cutting weight and like that they're like losing years of development. And if your goal is to be like a good high school wrestler, then cool. But that's a lot of work to just be a good high school wrestler. And I think that you can see guys doing very well at the college level.
Yeah, and this is when you're 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. That's your prime development years. And if you are spending more of your time worrying about your weight than your skill development, then I mean it's like any sport. Do you what are your girls working on for softball? Are they working on
Lifting. They lift right now. They're lifting a
they're
lot.
lifting? Okay. Are they? Is that going to help them, or are they cutting weight and working on something that's not going to develop?
No, they're cleaning up what they're doing all the time, right?
Yeah,
Like and obviously I'm not like they're not going D1, but they're gonna play college softball. They're gonna get the degree they want to get, and they're gonna go into a field where they're gonna have an like I'm an environmental engineer. They're going into environmental science. I think I have a pretty good feel of how they can get that same job that I'm getting,
yeah,
and probably do better at it than I am, honestly. But you're you're trying to improve what you're doing all the time. OC pitches, we're trying to add pieces to your game so that you can be a better pitcher. Like we're trying to win a state championship. If they're hitting, they're going to hitting lessons and cleaning it up. They're not like, man, if I don't eat, I could be so much faster.
yeah.
No, they're just getting stronger. I mean, obviously, it's not the culture, but like, I don't know. I would be in favor of like after like weigh-ins, like mat side weigh-ins. I'd be in favor of like if you had to like weigh in before you go on the mat, like how many of those guys are we cutting like that?
Not very many.
And what if you had to weigh out at the day before and then you couldn't like be that heavy? I bet you would have less cutting too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. I like the idea of mat side weigh-ins. I love the idea of that. I just don't know about the implementation in dual meets. It's fine. It's easy. It's you step on the scale, then you go to the mat. For a tournament or a super duel or something, I couldn't. I think it'd be. My biggest things. I think that would be hard for a kid to try to maintain their weight, even if they were close, unless they were 10 pounds under. To oh, you can't drink that Gatorade after you just wrestle a 8-minute match, or you can't don't eat that sandwich. That
Even if you
I
weighed
can't
in
see
like
weighing
just
in
for the
5-6 times in a day. I think
like
that's not good
if you weighed in just for the first one, I don't think like and then you weigh out for a 2 day. I think it's I don't know. For me, like I think we're losing development and I think we're losing sight of like the goals. I like when we go to the NCAA's and Indiana does well.
Yeah.
Like I think that that's good for our state. I think it's good for our state to be mentioned in those like circles with all those other great things. Like even though like Jordan Burroughs was trying to like give Jesse Mendez to other states, um, I think it's good for our guys to be having success. Now, how many of those guys were cutting a lot in high school? I'm sure Jesse was losing, but Jesse came in lower or right around the same weight as he did in college, and now he's wrestling a weight class higher.
Yeah.
I just think it's like one of those things like you're losing sight of what you want to do. Like, are we so like short sighted that we're only worried about like what's in front of us? Like, we talk about like 4-timers and all that, and that's amazing. Do you think Nick Lee cares? He was in the chair. He's literally in the chair for Penn State. Like who they wrestled on Friday, they killed him.
They wrestled
Uh,
Rutgers.
Rutgers killed Rutgers. He's in the corner, and I'm thinking like You think that guy cares that he's a one-time state champ?
Nope.
You think he? Probably not, right? We tell the girls this a lot, and the people can take it for what they want. Uh, I've never had to do an interview to hire someone and ask them what they did in high school athletics. Like if you competed, like that's good enough for us. I'm never like, oh, like cool, you played Division I softball. Let me like give you a job here. It doesn't mean you're going to be a good worker. Like I don't know if that makes you a good environmentalist. like,
Yeah.
but I just think that like we're so nearsighted of what our goals should be. Uh, I just think, and I guess that was my thing. Like if we spend as much time focused on lifting weights as we do losing weight, I think we'd be a lot better as a state.
Yeah. I think
But
that could
Mason.
it
I mean,
could
he's a
happen.
freak, but I would say Mason Paris probably focused more on lifting weights than he did losing weight.
Yeah, he did.
It's probably done a lot, pretty good for him.
Yeah, and that was his goal. He said, "I'm just gonna go up. I'm gonna go up to whatever weight I can get to and stuff." But yeah, now that's we see a lot of guys cutting weight, and we see them. We see that like they don't look healthy, and you wonder. And some of them, like we said earlier, they got to get in the lineup, but it's also one of those things that I think people don't do the other things like lifting weights, like stretching, like doing that will, as Travis just said, injury prevention. Making those muscles stronger. You're not going to tear them. You're not going to tear the things that they are protecting and stuff. So yeah, I think it's just one of those things that people are, like you said, very short sighted and wanting high school success and not looking to the future success. They're not looking to be world champions. They're looking to be Indiana State champions, and
And
that's
I would be one. I want to look at like how many of these guys are cutting serious weight that are going to be state champs too. But like on top of that, like I'm not saying like you can't lose weight. Like I think there's a difference. There's a difference between losing weight and cutting weight, right?
yeah,
Like if I go into a wrestling room and I wrestle for a week, I'm going to lose weight. I'm not in the best shape. I've been in better shape in my life. Like I'm not going in there and cutting weight. I'm not like, oh man, I'm not going to eat and drink and I'm going to lose all this weight. I'm going to go in there and exercise and I'm going to be in better shape. That's losing weight. Like you could lose 10 pounds just being in a hot room and working, right?
yeah,
Like then if you say, hey, I lost 10 pounds, I'm losing another 10 pounds. At that point, I think they're killing your development.
yeah. When it starts becoming the focus of your practice is the weight, and it's different for every kid, every person, because some can drop 10, 15 pretty easy. Some getting 5 off is going to be tough. So
Yeah, I think even look at like some of the accolades of guys that were coming up through the ISWA ranks, and like see like where they're starting to like plateau in their development. Like if you go back, some of the things that we do for rankings early on, especially for the bigger weights, is look 4 or 5 years back to see where those kids were at and like how they competed, and you see like, oh man, why are these kids flatlining and some of these kids are elevating, right?
mm-hmm.
And I think that's a very hard like reality that people don't want to look at. Like, and I don't know if it's like people that are being advised in a certain way or parents that are like misinformed. Like if I'm cutting 20 pounds, I'm going to be the biggest 113 pounder. Dude, I'm just using a weight. I have no one in my brain that I'm using. Like, so before anyone's like, Mike's killing Joe Caprino on Gorilla Radio, it's not that. Like, or you could just be a healthy 126 and get better.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's like the thing that's like hard. And you see it, like you see a lot of guys that are not getting better from middle school. And I think that's tough. And maybe I'm giving them an out and saying they're cutting too much weight and I'm making excuses for the kids for not working hard. I don't know. And I'm not saying anybody in specific, but it's just weird to look at those things and then see other guys that are like elevating their game.
Yeah, and they're jumping weights, and yeah, it's interesting to see the guys that jump weights and still have success. Means they've been focusing on their development and on their they're not caring about, if you're a good wrestler, you're a good wrestler. That's the thing people don't realize is like, yeah, I might give up a little bit of strength, but if I have good technique and I have good conditioning, that's going to get me where I need to go most of the time.
And I think like, and again, I can't say this enough. Like, and I'm not like trying to steer towards a certain group or not, but like if you're on like a team where like you're on a really good team and you have to cut weight to get in the lineup, I understand like that's tough. If that's your goal and you want to be in the lineup, and that's the only way you can get in the lineup, I still don't know if that's great for your development. But at the end of the day, that's you want to be, you want to get your Letterman's jacket and live. I guess don't give it to any girls. Um, but with that being said, like I guess that could be our rant next week. The super teams, like, cool, like you can go be on a super team, but then you're gonna have to like kill yourself to cut weight, and maybe the guys that you used to beat are gonna be better than you now.
Yeah. Or you might grow and not be able to lose the weight anymore, and now you're out of the spot.
Yeah, I don't want to go into like like, I know that's a big thing that Ed wants to talk about on the like this like end of the show, like town hall, end of the season town hall thing is like the position of Indiana wrestling and the direction it's going, and like maybe we're jumping the gun with some of the stuff with holdbacks like last week and cutting weight this week, and now we're gonna cover all these topics before we get to that point and everyone's gonna be gassed up. But uh, man, I just think it's one of those things like just kind of looking and talking to like some people, and like some people gave me some positive feedback on sorry, OC has her college signing tomorrow, and Kim just showed me the cookies. They came out pretty good. We're gonna put cookies out. I'll get you guys a
You gonna eat one on camera?
No, I can't. They have to be over there. I can't be talking trash about people losing weight and eating cookies on camera. I just don't feel like that's a good thing. We did get a picture of the IndianaMat scale.
Yes.
Coach Watkins got that to us. That thing's pretty awesome.
I need to let me put it up there. That thing, we need to get that. We need to figure out what part needs to be they need, and we can probably get it 3D printed.
Maybe. I mean, do it for the guy, man. He's a legend. That scale's probably hurt a lot more feelings than a lot of almost probably. We used to be able to cut weight right up to the end of regional weigh-ins and stuff like that. We used to have sectional and regional, so guys would be cutting weight to the last second. If they had to do the step on one time or however it does now, there'd probably been a lot more guys missing weight.
Yes. Let me. Oops, I just had it up.
Don't you feel like part of like the cutting weight thing is like old guys, and we're old. Like, don't get me wrong, we're old. I got this gray. There's a scale right there. It's a bad mofo right there.
That thing's crushed some dreams.
Dude, that game's hurt a lot of feelings. I've seen a lot of guys start crying on that scale. Tough guys. But I think like, I think the like cutting weight thing is just tough, man. It's like a culture thing, right? Like, and I think it's like an old timer thing. Like everyone always remembers everything better than when they were kids, right? Like maybe we're the exception because we've been part of it, but everyone's like, oh, when I was in school, it used to be really tough. Wrestling was really tough. Nah, it's better right now. We got guys that are placing in the world. Nah, man, I'm telling you. Let me tell you about the 1980s. Like, cool, man. But like also I think like hazing goes that way. Like when I was here, they used to really haze people. Like you don't even know. And I'm thinking like, man, that's stupid. Did you like it? Then why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, did you like cutting weight? Did it make you a better wrestler? Oh, you're very aware that it made you a worse wrestler, but you're still gonna make people cut weight. Okay, just double checking. I love it when guys like didn't cut weight. They're like, yeah, like if that guy cut weight, like cool, man. How much did you cut? Lost 10 pounds. Like, no, you lost 10 pounds, sir. That's not cutting weight. Yeah. Tell me the time you're losing 30 to 40 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, go back and look at those state books, bro. Like those, like 98, like probably before, like what 2001 is when they put the 7% in. You've seen a lot of sunken eyes and cheekbones.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot more cheekbones and skeleton faces.
Yeah. Well, once you started seeing less juniors and seniors at the lowest weight, you knew that people were cutting. They weren't cutting as much weight.
Yeah, like
they still are. There's still some people cutting weight and finding ways around things, but it's
again,
better.
if you're putting that much energy into cheating the system, why don't you just put that much energy into getting better?
Yeah.
Like it's the same. Like you're doing the same thing, right? Like you're using the same breath to go one way or the other.
Yeah.
One, I guess one's easier. Like if you're cheating the system, that's an easier way to do it than actually teaching how to finish shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But you still got to teach
If
them how
you're
to finish a shot because no matter how big, I mean, it
go,
doesn't
man,
count
go
what
see my boy Luke, bro. Like Luke does a good job. Luke Trivaline at Lake Central does a really good job of getting guys really strong. And like I don't have anything to do with his gym or anything like that, but that dude is getting guys strong, and that dude's strong. So like you want to go get at Luke Trivaline, man, in the summers. Yeah, dude, Jesse worked hard, man. I know like I think his one of the years he went back to the same weight so he can kind of keep guys in the lineup, but that dude's a guy that's getting better all the time and that loves wrestling. And I think that's another thing too, is like I think cutting weight can kill your love of wrestling. People talk about burnout. Like I don't think anyone ever gets burnt out on winning. You get burnt out on the grind of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you get burnt out on the idea. Like you get to that point. I'll tell you, like cutting weight really hard. Like you get to the point where you start like weighing when it's tight. Like what shit? Like do I like go this far? Or do I go this far? Like you start saying if I do this or if I do that. Like everyone gets to that breaking point. Your mind's crazy. Like you start lying to yourself, right? Like when you're cutting real hard weight, you're like, man, I could just drink this and I can lose a pound. And it's like, that's not true though. I'll float 2 pounds tonight when I sleep. Like that's a lie. You just lie to yourself. Like your brain's like crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I heard my college coach. He said he was cutting a lot. I mean, this was college, obviously, and before any rules, and he was cutting so much weight. He had a dream that he was drinking like Gatorade and stuff, and woke up and Gatorade bottles were everywhere. And he'd woken up, got in his refrigerator, and drank like a bunch of Gatorade, and was like 10 pounds over. So
man, we had some wild weight cutting stories. I mean, I'm not like trying to kill my program. I love my coaches, but like I'll tell you one for me. Like when I very first had to like cut weight hard, I was like, I didn't have anyone telling me how to cut weight. I was doing the old, if I drink a gallon of water, they got to pour out of my system because that's how like bodybuilders cut weight. Nah, that's just 8 pounds of water you drink. You have to lose that now. I had to like go home with a coach, and as a parent, like I couldn't even imagine if my daughter came home and said, "Hey, I have to go stay with a coach." I had to go stay with like a 26, and that's my boy too. That's my guy. Like now, not then, but like I'm gonna go home and stay with a coach for a couple of days. Could you even imagine your kid asking you that? And you're like, "Yeah, go ahead, go for it."
yeah.
Like, I'll see you in a couple of days. Take some clothes.
Yeah.
Or like if like that part of it, I know Coach Watkins used to tell this story about this dude he had to take home before, and he woke up and the guy was drinking like out of his dog water bowl. He was so thirsty that he said, "You know what? I'm gonna drink the same water that this dog that like licks his butt is drinking." That's how thirsty this man was. Like I feel like when your mind is so like hurting for water, like that you're willing to put yourself in the same thing as feces, you're in a bad spot.
That's
Tony cut hard, bro. Tony's in the chat too. Tony cut real hard his freshman year. I'll tell you another, like, and this isn't because Tony said it, but like the people that are like planning their weight a year in advance and trying to stick to that, like when you're walking out of the state finals, you're like, I'm gonna be 103 next year, 106 next year. That's a bad move. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Yes.
Like you're not understanding like the male growth pattern in high school.
The 16, 17, 18-year-old growth patterns. You don't stay the same weight.
Dude, I seen Benny Dalton driving that truck, man. That was awesome. Driving a big rig, the Bandit.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things. Yeah, for real. Like, nah, that's my boy now, dude. So like, don't call Chris Hansen on him. That guy's my guy. But I just think that's one of those things. I look back and I'm thinking, like, how much did you not like the sport because you were cutting weight for guys that were leaving, or that you could have just been getting better and having fun and getting good?
Yeah.
You see kids cutting weight. You see like kids, like we talked about nationals, like, oh, I'm going to cut to like 80 pounds. And it's like, why? Yeah. Okay, cool. You're the Fort Wayne Folkstyle national champ. Did anyone go there to recruit you?
I'm pretty positive there are no college coaches were there.
Tony's doing the youth rankings for us on IndianaMat. Like, I don't think he even moved the needle at all. He said, yeah, it's a good tournament. We'll see what they do at middle school state.
Yeah.
Like,
no one's recruiting. Excuse me. 14 you guys. No one's recruiting them.
But you hear the stories of these guys cutting all these weight for these like kids tournaments, and
Oh.
it's if you want to cut weight for Tulsa, man, go ahead cut weight for Tulsa. I'll say that. I've been to Tulsa. It's pretty good. I had a girlfriend that lived in Oklahoma. Her parents tried to get me to wrestle in like the open division with it. It was like Tyrone Lewis and Shane Roller. And I was like, nah, you know what? I don't have shoes or a singlet. Like, well, get your shoes in a singlet. So you want to see me get murdered out here in front of my girl? Like, these dudes would kill me. Like, I'm not even Indiana good. These guys are like national, like All-American good. You guys are trying to get me beat up out here.
Yeah, I've heard some stories about Tulsa, about what they the cutting and everything is kind of crazy, and I'm not planning on going there anytime soon for at least taking my son there. So I don't know.
We went to Tulsa, man, for NCAAs. It was all right.
Yeah. Yes.
Everything was kind of spread out. I mean, that wasn't a cool thing.
Yeah.
I lost Hawk for a little bit. That's a story for that. That'd be another rant for another day.
Another rant for when you have to babysit Hawkins.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But nah, man. I just think that like far too often, like you lose the desire to be good because yeah, I'm sure Super 32 is really bad too. Like because you're in there like Tulsa, you're not having all like the like high school kids. Like when you're going there, it's like, dude, you're going to Super 32. There is actually college coaches there. They're probably not watching you, but there's like definitely coaches that are there.
There are college coaches there. So
yeah. Hawk
Wow.
never got back, man. We just brought another guy back that looked like him. That's why he's so lean.
Yeah.
we left the heavy Hawkins in Tulsa and brought back a skinny Hawkins. I don't know how it happened.
Well, even like Fargo a few years ago, because Fargo's they have night before weigh-in. They weigh in at like 7:00, wrestle all day, and if you make that the second day you weigh in the morning. So you have about 36 to 40 hours between weigh-ins, and the one time like 7 or 8 people, I'm pretty positive, missed weight.
Man.
And it was juniors, like 100 or 106, whatever one of the lower weight classes was. Like, yeah, and they get like a 2-pound allowance, but that's a lot of time between weigh-ins.
Do you think that like you should charge those guys and they have to like pay if they have to change weight classes too? I know a tournament that does that.
Yeah.
Call in the last day, like, can I move?
Yeah, no, those kids. I think Fargo's really bad about that because of if you have like 40 hours between weigh-ins, what do you expect kids to be doing?
And I get it, man. Those are events. That's not lost on me. Those are events that you're really being recruited at.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would tell you this, you're probably not being recruited at the Mike Reiser Super 6, wherever you want to put the school district in. You're not getting recruited there. Like Angel Escobedo, Leroy Vega, those guys are not going to those events.
Yeah.
Fargo, I'm guessing those guys are there.
Yeah.
Super 32, I'm guessing those guys are there. You wanna cut weight to like you want to cut weight to get to those events, cool. But also you're putting yourself in a position that you're going to have to make that weight for the next 4 to 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Look at a guy like the Illinois kid that was like 106 pounder. He went to like Purdue to be like a 120 or it was a 119. Like what was it, like Rundell?
Yeah.
And then he got it, and they thought he was gonna be a 25, and he could never make it again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I can understand for a couple big events to cut that weight, but all season is a different beast, and even, I mean, like you said, still, if you're a good wrestler, you're a good wrestler, and the better ones are going to do what they need to do. I've been to Super 32 and Fargo. Fargo wasn't as bad because it used to be you weighed in the morning and then the next morning was the second day. So you had 24 hours, which is atypical, just like Al Smith and stuff. But it's a different beast now, especially when you have that much time. Super 32, obviously, it's a day before weigh-in, and some kids are pulling a ton of weight, and they wrestle weights that they're not going to wrestle during the season, which is kind of to me that's ridiculous. But I guess if that's what you feel you need to do, still not proving that you're a good wrestler. You're just proving you can cut weight and recover in 12 hours.
Obviously, like there's better people than I am, and I'm sure they have better perspective. But I think that like it's just one of those things. I think we're losing. I think there's kids that could be better that are losing development right now in the sport today, right now, that are like looking at a very short-sighted like view of their career.
Yes, I totally agree. And that can, it's not just the weight cutting, it is very much of just development. It can, that statement can span a lot of different areas of people are being very short-sighted of. To me, I would, as a coach, I want my kids to love the sport and give back to the sport in the end. I would love for them to wrestle in college. That I think that's the biggest thing. That should be the goal, is to create as many college wrestlers as possible, but also create a good experience. And if you're not doing that, then you're not. I mean, winning's cool, but at the end of the day, you ain't getting a job because of winning.
Yeah, create as many like opportunities for yourself that you're gonna be able to make money for yourself through an education. Like, don't pick a college. Like, this is like what we tell them. Don't pick a college because like I can go there and play softball. Go somewhere that they have your degree and you're awesome. Like, if they suck at softball, that's fine. You're not gonna be a professional softball player. Even if you did, it sucks.
Yeah.
Like they told me when I was at IUN, the Railcats made $5,000 a year. $5,000 a year. Like, not even a tax return, bro. Like, I just think that like we have a lot of parents that watch the show, and obviously there's some coaches and like obviously wrestlers. And I would love to know like their perspective of like why they do that or why that is. And like I assume that there's a lot of really tough people that are running from somebody. I'm doing this because of this, and I think it's crazy. I really do. Like, why we hear it a lot with the rankings. The rankings don't mean anything, right? But like we also hear a lot like I almost beat the number 2 guy. Okay, cool. Why didn't you beat the number 2 guy then? Well, he's the number 2 guy. If rankings don't mean anything, why does it matter?
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I just think it's one of those things like focus more on getting better and like having good people around you that can advise you. And I'm not saying like no one should cut weight ever. Like if you have to like if you're losing 10 pounds, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't be like more focused on losing weight than like developing your talent.
Yep, exactly. And that's the biggest thing there. Yeah. So close the rant over.
That was it, man.
That's a good one.
I don't know what's going to be next week. Those are the 2 I really had. Like, there's a couple things I always say, like, man, I want to hit on this or hit on that. I don't want to steal Ed's. I don't want to steal Ed's thunder and like take stuff that he was telling me about. But
Dave does have a good point. The power poll is the only ranking that matters.
The only one that matters is the PowerPoint. Take that, Dane. The PowerPoint gets way more buzz than the 4-class ranking Dane.
Yeah.
Single class ranking. Nah. Dane does an amazing job. Tune in every what do they go on Sunday night for the Hager, Hershey, and Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly.
Yes.
So it's a much more structured show. If you're into structure and you're into like actual like things that are gonna be set out, and like Dane does a phenomenal job, and so does Rex. If that's what you're into, and you're not into like someone with ADD reading comments and responding to that,
yes.
and then listening back on the podcast and like, why did he go in that direction? Don't watch that here, right?
Yeah. So yeah. Before I forget, because it's on the top of my mind, check some cool graphics will be coming out starting tomorrow. As long as everyone commits the weights that they are committed to, we do have our rankings are pretty solid right now. I think we're just gonna make some slight tweaks and adjustments, but we have some pretty cool graphics coming out. Probably gonna start tomorrow, so look for those if you are in a certain ranking spot. So look for that. I'm trying not to read this stuff. I do like Travis's idea that we should just randomly draw one weight and they have to do Greco.
Man, you want to hear? I'll tell you my thoughts on Greco. We can wait till next week. I feel like if you lose the final X in freestyle for the Olympics, you should automatically get a bid to go Greco. I feel like we'd be way better. Like, and I'm not saying the Greco guys are bad. I am saying they're bad. We haven't battled in Greco a lot. Like, you should give those guys. I want to see, like, if Jason Nolf doesn't win Final X, he should go get like a shot at Greco. He should auto bid to the finals.
Yeah.
I want our best guys representing the United States.
Yeah. I don't think they would beat the guys that we do have wrestling Greco though.
I want to see like a Bo Nickel out there wrestling those guys.
It would. Greco is a very, 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 very specific. When it gets to that level, it is very specific. I don't know what they practice. I don't know how you can, because in Greco there's like 5 moves that can score. I mean, and I'm probably not too far off.
Man, but don't you feel like these top guys, the top guys, like let's say like a Mark Hall who had like a short international career. You don't think that guy can hold position probably with he held position his whole career, he's barely scoring.
Yeah.
Like, he probably scored 40 points if you take away the match he wrestled with Drew in his entire career.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think he'd be great. He was pretty successful at Greco. I think if he focused on it, he would be great. I think that's the key is focusing on it and the nuances. And I don't think just people in the United States don't care to get good at Greco. And
like if Spencer didn't win the Olympic bid, and let's say not Yanni, but Vito wins the Olympic bid at that weight, wouldn't you want to see Spencer Lee go wrestle Greco, hold position, and get on top?
if he gets on top, it's going to do some damage.
Telling you, man.
So, but yeah, they might be able to represent the U.S., but I think internationally it would be it wouldn't be good.
But they'd be the stars, man. We'd be watching it more.
Yes.
Who was your favorite Greco Olympian this cycle?
Greco? Kamal Bay is fun to watch.
Kamal Bay is fun to watch. Illinois kid, too.
Yeah. Adam Kuhn, but that's heavyweight, and there's not a lot of wrestling action there. You always got to root for Adam Kuhn. He seems like a really good guy. But, yeah. Trying to... so, anyway. So, not many rankings updates. We'll have those out probably Friday. Look for a mass amount of rankings updates.
Sounds like Lucas Day took a loss this week. I didn't see to Wrangle of North Vermilion.
Ooh, that will be interesting. Is that
27-1? I think those guys are on the same like sectional too, right?
Yeah.
Section a regional.
That'll shake up the South. Is North Vermilion? They go south, right? No, they go to Newcastle.
Dude, I have my geography over there is tough. I'm telling you, man, that'd be another rant. How we should split up these semi-states. I don't think we should have an Indianapolis semi-state.
Oh.
I mean, that's tough for those guys at Newcastle. I understand there's a lot of love. I think we should split Indy in 4 different ways and corner it.
Just go. That'd be interesting.
Take the northeast side of Indy to Fort Wayne, the northwest side of Indy to, let's say, Purdue, the southeast side of Indy to Bloomington, and the southwest side to Evansville.
That would be interesting. Where were they saying? They said that I did see. Oh, they were talking about. I don't know if I should say this, but I've heard grumblings that one of the reasons they were having the girls' state at the Coliseum was they're looking to possibly maybe move the semi-state there. But you didn't hear that from me.
I'm telling you, man, we should split it 4 ways. I have no clue if that works. I don't know how the teams work up on that, but I think it'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
I think you would help even out Fort Wayne a little bit because, like, I mean, whoever you're getting to go that way, and obviously you're gonna have some good teams going to East Chicago, some good teams going to Evansville. You're gonna split it that way, right?
Yeah, it's. I think my guess is the reason they kind of do it is more, where do they have a host, and then try to congregate.
I just gave you 4 hosts, bro.
80
Assembly
teams are on there.
Mackey, Coliseum, Evansville, man, easy. And then you get built-in recruiting. You can get some guys from the north going to Purdue. Lead right and get right in front of those guys, and then you can go get Angel, get some guys, get that corner over there, get those Columbus East guys over there,
Yeah, yeah,
get them right in Assembly Hall.
that could be interesting. I mean, I definitely would like to see kind of a newer. It'd be nice to have a big change, but I don't know if it's. I have no clue how it would be. I'd have to chop it up and see if that would work. See where exactly how you
Yeah,
could do that.
yeah. I have no clue how it works. I just throw ideas out there. You know me, man. I'm just throwing things out there and hoping they stick sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, sometimes when we say that stuff, it happens miraculously. So, um, anything else this week? Sectional.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out. What section are you going to? You going to go to section? You gonna hang out?
I might likely go to the Carroll one, or at least I'll drop my daughter off there for sectional. I might see how, but they start at freaking 8 a.m. Like ridiculous.
They start wrestling at 8 a.m.
Yes.
That is wild.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I don't know. I might maybe I've never really been over to New Haven. I almost said Newcastle. Not gonna go to Newcastle, but that should be New Haven and Homestead should be a pretty good little battle. Curious what the brackets will look like there and see if there's any good matches there. Heavyweight will be a good one. So I don't know. I have no plans, and we'll see. Maybe I'll. I mean, I know the next couple of days gonna get those our cool graphics out and start getting templates made for brackets for our world famous rankings brackets. So
World famous
yes,
in the state of Indiana.
yes. So yeah, I don't know. I probably maybe I'll go over to Carroll. I don't know. So where are you gonna head?
I'm gonna go to Crown Point. I think that's gonna be interesting. There's gonna be some matchups there that I'm interested to see. I think Crown Point, Lowell, Hanover. I think obviously Crown Point's probably pretty far ahead, but Lowell has some really good individuals. Hanover has some pretty good individuals. Should be some good matchups.
Yeah, I was looking at that one. There'll definitely be some good matchups coming in there, and then they run into the what section?
Laporte or Chesterton? Laporte,
Laporte. So that could be.
which is like New Prairie and those guys that come in.
Mm-hmm.
This might be and I'm not saying I'm not like calling an upset by any means, but this might be the least amount of regional champs Crown Point's had in the last 7 to 8 years.
Yeah.
I mean, New Haven's bringing in or not New Haven, but New Prairie's bringing in a lot of really good guys. Lowell has some really good guys. So it could be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, there should be some good sectionals. I'm trying. Um, let's see. Southridge will have Floyd Central, Tell City. Avon will be the Avon Brownsburg duel for the
That'd be fun.
25th time this year. Jay County with Adams Central, Belmont, and Jay County. That'll be kind of fun to see who comes out on top there. Cathedral and Bishop Chatard will go at it again at Arsenal Tech. Hobart and Portage will be at Portage, where their ranked teams. Like you said, Crown Point will have Crown Point, Hanover, and Lowell. That should be a good one. Mishawaka, Penn, New Haven, Homestead, Rossville, and Westfield at Frankfort, along with Carmel and Hamilton Southeastern. That'll be a pretty solid sectional. And then Jennings County will have Columbus East, Franklin, and Switzerland County. So, pretty solid sectionals. So, and I guess next week there's Mooresville. There's the first semi-state. The Mooresville semi-state will take place.
Man, it's tough. It's pretty good.
So we'll talk about that once we get some brackets and everything. So
I'm
Um,
sure people tell us that we're spending too much time on the biggest teams and we need to spend more time on the smaller teams. So I'm gonna read up on all the 1A schools.
yes, we're gonna
Send
we're
me
gonna
your
look at
information, your
we're gonna talk a lot
representatives.
about the Jeffersonville sectional or regional,
Yep. Yup.
the Greco City. Welcome to Greco City. So, yeah, no, that should be some good sectionals and kind of very eager to see who is where and see if there's any kind of big changes or okie dokies that coaches have been not forthcoming with. Oh yeah, he's gonna be switching weights, and see. Oh wow, you are going down that weight. So you need to get access. I need to talk to my buddy Robert and see if we can just get access to all the weigh-ins and stuff and see where everyone's weighing in.
You were the best man in his wedding. You should hit him up.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So the weight cutting thing is a precursor. Like, make sure you guys you're getting your weight under control. There's always someone that misses weight this time of year in the top 5 the last 3 or 4 years.
yes.
Don't do that. It makes the rankings look bad. Like, obviously, like, you're not trying to miss weight, but just
we
be
used
careful.
to put the dreaded red X around on the wrestlers that were eliminated.
Yeah, someone told me that was like cruel. I mean, obviously, I was a guy that was eliminated before, so right through my name.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we could put something in there. Eliminated scale. Eliminated number 5 ranked guy.
We're gonna put the Crown Point scale as one of the top ranked kids coming into the sectional. It's taking some heavy hitters out.
Yes, it has. It takes home hitter. It takes Crown Point kids.
How do you miss How do you miss weight on your own scale?
That's a tough one. You gotta. I mean, that's your first opponent every Saturday for the next 4 weeks.
Shouldn't be though, man. You just heard me talk about it.
Yes.
Should be lifting weights.
Craig Akers said he loved the red line, right through it.
Man, that was. I think you texted me when I first did that because we did it in the semi-state rankings when they were just pinned to the page.
Yeah. That's kind of
yeah, it was
cool.
bad. It wasn't nice because someone when Huntman watched looked at that and just like tear ran down, single tear, looking like Chris Jones during the national anthem. Man, like no one loves the national anthem more than Chris Jones of the Chiefs, bro. Dude, just like, tears pouring out. It's crazy.
Yeah, we should.
I like
there's gonna be enough angry people when we start updating the power poll and things change when their ranked guy drops out.
Man, it's like the Howard Stern movie Private Parts, right? Like people that like IndianaMat go to IndianaMat like 70 times a day. People that hate IndianaMat and what we do go there 100 times a day.
Yes.
So it's good. So we like it when they're angry. We like it when the power pool is mad. So then they buy more Gorilla subscriptions so we get more money. So we can put it in the stack. We can jump into like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, yes. All the girls.
That's what we're ranking. We're ranking 80s cartoons next.
Ooh, that'd be a good one. I was thinking of cartoon characters too, but that'd be that'd be fun. So, yeah. So that is our week. I don't think we have too much any other rants you want to go on.
Nope. That's about it.
Okay, so we are going to get going a little bit early today. So, I just got an email. So anyway, we'll get down a little early. Next week's going to be a little bit more fun. We're going to have some brackets. We'll be able to kind of project some ticket round death draws, things like that. So, Jeremy, your kid's not ranked, so
Airsman.
Yeah.
We secretly
leave
claim
Airsman out. Hey man,
titles.
if you look at that and hear what I said earlier, maybe that's a little precursor to something that's going to be going on. So, Jeremy, your kid's not ranked, so you don't have to worry about it.
When Brownsburg keeps winning these titles, the East Chicago semi-state takes a little bit of credit because we got Derek down there and Airsman.
Nice. Oh, next year. Okay, we won't rank him. We won't rank him till next year, right?
Nah, he'll be ranked. That's fine. He'll be ranked.
You're not going to be under the radar?
I think that I think the under the radar thing's overrated.
Most
I
overrated.
think, yeah, most overrated thing in Indiana wrestling being under the radar.
Yeah,
Like, there's this thing called technology. It changed the world, right? We don't have to get paper brackets anymore.
yeah. I don't have to call you on the phone and say, "Hey, so and so beat so and so tonight." Let me write that
Yeah,
down on my notebook.
we should like come in with like some nice mustaches and a jean jacket and like a mullet, and we can like mail out our rankings.
Yes, I
Get the rankings in the mail.
I have a couple copies of the old rankings that got mailed. I have to grab them out of my Indiana history war chest. It's pretty cool. They're pretty cool because it had like the name and everything, and they literally were mailed out there. I mean, that's how you got things out. That was the olden days, snail mail. Can you imagine getting Tuesday like, oh, we got rankings.
Yep. I used to love getting the freestyle book every year. I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if they still do that or not. I mean, it's on track wrestling. I really don't have it.
yeah. Oh, you still they still the ISWA still puts out that book, and they don't have the tournaments in there anymore, but they have all the past results. And they're like, people have collected these for 50 years, so we can't stop doing this.
I got a bunch of state books here.
Yeah,
I got a whole collection of state books from 1999 on.
I have a bunch too from yeah. I have a,
Well, you didn't go to you got something you didn't even go to.
yeah.
Dick Dale gave you a bunch of them.
Yes. Oh yes. I got a bunch. I have pretty much all of them. The state books. I thought you meant the ISWA state books.
Oh, I don't even know if I have it. I don't even know if I have one anymore.
Yeah, I got a
I
bunch
was
of
talking
those too.
state
So
books.
that'd be cool to go. It's neat to go through those about 6 or 7 years. Uh, behind and like looking at some of the results, just like we do the middle school state, and like, wow, that's crazy that these two guys are the same weight, and they're both wrestling 110, and one's up at 170, the other's at 120.
Yeah, that's always like the most fun thing when you see that stuff. Some of those guys stay the same, right? Some of those guys won middle school state at a higher weight than they're wrestling right now
Yeah. Yes.
as a grown man. Some of those dudes are driving to school at a lower weight than they're wrestling in middle school. It's wild, man. Can't even imagine that.
Yeah. So, anyway, we're gonna get out of here. Have a good week. Good luck to everyone at sectional, and we'll be back on Monday.